wasn't exactly the wedding reception that newlyweds were expecting. In fact, the reception was actually a rally held to protest all of the same-sex weddings that have occurred over the last 23 hours. Dan Levy joins us here in the studio with tonight's top story. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening to you, Jim. It didn't take long for opponents of same-sex marriage to hold their own anti-wedding party. Just 15 hours after midnight, when the first gay and lesbian couples in New York began tying the knot, a rally was underway at the Capitol involving demonstrators intent on not allowing marriage equality to stand. It's not the first thing that comes to mind when you think of a wedding march. Actually, this was an anti-wedding march. Same-sex weddings, that is. Hundreds of people turned out under a hot summer sky, primarily faith-based individuals, carrying picket signs or singing religious hymns, or sometimes deep in thought, passionate, determined, and with a purpose.
We just didn't come here to feel good. We came here to do to put into action our plans to eventually get a referendum on the ballot and turn this over.
In other words, they're not satisfied with how state legislators handled the same-sex marriage matter. They want to vote for themselves.
I don't believe it's too late, and the reason why I believe that is because I, as a woman of God, feel that God is sovereign and that regardless of the outcome, that he reigns supreme and that he has the final say.
Regardless of who has the final say, these protesters had plenty to say themselves about why they believe same-sex marriage is wrong.
If I was a businessman looking to locate a business, it wouldn't be in New York State anymore.
Because of this issue?
Yes.
Susan Selloway traveled from Syracuse to attend the rally. As of today, there are hundreds of same-sex couples who are married in New York State. Does that affect your life?
Yes, it does.
How?
Public education, do you not think they're going to try and shove that agenda into health classes?
Of course it affects us. What these people do is sexually active. It's like lap swimming in raw sewage. It has bad health effect. My health insurance is going to go up because of their activities.
It was a good rally. We think it's a success because the people came out. The people were heard, the people spoke, and we think it was a great success.
And while protesters remain busy planning their next move intent on overturning marriage equality, tonight there are nearly 1,000 same-sex newlyweds planning the rest of their lives together. Harold Lahner and Al Martino of Albany have been together for 15 years, but this is something they've waited a lifetime to hear.
Will you love, comfort, honor, and keep him, as a faithful spouse is bound to do?
It's very exciting. It's a bit of a shock. I think neither of us really thought that this would happen so quickly, number one, or that we'd have the opportunity to validate our civil rights.
Harold and Al were part of 6 weddings and a milestone when the clock struck 12 at Albany City Hall. They were the first to be married publicly in the Common Council chamber. It was 12:16 a.m. and the crowd erupted in celebration. Next, it was David Janulis and Don Grandchamp who exchanged wedding vows. The Glenmont couple has been together 17 years.
We've been together for so many years that that piece of paper really doesn't make much of a difference. I still love him just as much as I did this morning when I woke up.
Tomorrow we'll wake up and we know we got rings, we're married, and in the eyes of New York, we're actually a couple.
The series of events that brought these couples to the altar occurred 1 month earlier. First, the New York State Senate passed marriage equality.
Ayes 33, nays 29.
And then Governor Andrew Cuomo signed it into law.
I do.
The enthusiasm was bubbling over for Joanne Trinkle and Beth Relier of Glenville, together for 11 years and now declared married by Mayor Jerry Jennings, but only after asking him at the last minute.
It was awesome.
He wasn't going to do it, but she's like, you want to do it?
He's standing in the hallway, and I'm like, hey, will you come do ours? He's like, if you want me to. I'm like, please, come on. It was awesome. That was cool.
These same-sex marriages in Albany and across the state have thrust New York into the forefront of the national gay rights debate.
I think it's a big statement that it passed in New York, that it can be done and other states can follow.
It's a matter of time, and that's what we've been lobbying for years, and we thought, oh man, and even during the last vote we were afraid to hope, but when we realized, hey, this is for real, it was kind of amazing.
With New York now becoming the 6th state to legalize same-sex weddings, the number of Americans who now have access to marriage equality has doubled overnight. And in a related note, the town of Guilderland, in a special meeting tonight, appointed 3 new marriage officers. You may recall the town clerk, Rosemary Senti, recently stepped aside from that specific duty over her religious beliefs. Reporting live, Dan Levy, News Channel 13.
Thank you, Dan.